guys, welcome back to my new YouTube video. Thank you guys for the love on my previous video. I'm so glad you guys liked it, and this is why I'm bringing you a completely new video. Okay, and this one is a life changer. You really need to stick till the end. So guys, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I'll give you 1 second. Thank you so much for subscribing. So be sure to like this video, turn up the notification bell so that you get notified every time I bring you a new video. So let's get started. Y'all know I have the book. I have the $1 million book. Actually, this book could be worth $1 million to you, okay? And I know most people are so lazy, they don't read books. It's literally over 258 pages, okay? So it will take you a lot of time literally to read this book. But guys, I finished this book, I read it twice, and I posted a few videos on my TikTok concerning this book, and they got really good engagement. So I want to do a longer video to explain to you the power of your mind, okay? The power of your thoughts. The book is by Napoleon Hill. A little bit about the author. He's dead, y'all. This is the whole point of having a legacy. This guy died in 1970, but his book is still alive and active, okay? And I'll show you why it's still alive and active. There's also the Bible concept in it. Biblical principles are being applied in your journey to grow rich. You need to be close to God. You know, there's a chapter called faith. Because when all is done and said, when you've done everything that you can, sometimes all you need is just a little faith, like that of a mustard seed type of faith. So the first chapter is amazing, but I want to tell you guys, this book, the author is Napoleon Hill. This man interviewed over 500 people who came from nothing. I mean nothing. They were from poverty. And you all know what poverty is. And they had little education. You know, you can come from poverty, but you might be lucky and you get educated. Guess what? The 500 people who are millionaires in the United States of America, so that means they are dollar millionaires. He interviewed these people, and all the principles, everything that he learned, they are here. Aside from that, 25 years of his life he dedicated to this one book. Guys, this was a man who wanted to change people's lives. And because you haven't read this book, because it is a #1 best-selling book, go and do your research on Google. Among the top 5 best financial books. That is why they tell you sometimes you just lack a little knowledge to get where you're supposed to be. So I'm about to plug you that knowledge. So the book is Think and Grow Rich, okay? And I'm going to analyze the first chapter and the second one if I'm able to, because they are so long and there's a lot to learn. But here's the quote that I want to start with. Forward, I have the book here, so I'm not lying, okay? It's by Napoleon Hill, okay? This man is dead, but he's alive right now through his work, because it's remarkable. Whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, okay? That is how you begin. Your mind is spiritual, okay? There's a quote here that says your mind is spiritual. You have to guard it with your life, because if you're not guarding your mind, things will come inside that are not supposed to help you fulfill your purpose and destiny. So he was born in America. He was among the people, he was poor, okay? Let's start there. He was from the poverty line. You know, if you've come from the poverty line, you know how hard it is to just get $1, a single coin, you know. If you don't have connections, or you don't know anybody in the government, nobody is giving you a job if you don't know anybody. Story of my life. So Napoleon Hill died in 1970. And now I just want to analyze something. There's another book of his called The Law of Success. It was written by, this book has been read by kings, the presidents, the attorney generals of their time, because it was in the 90s, and it has highlighted one of the success, you know, principles that actually you can see that this success principle, they are consistent to the modern day successful people. What they say, what they teach, they are consistent, because the formula is simple. It begins with your mind. Every thought, every great idea, it was conceived in the human brain. That is why they tell you your mind is powerful, okay? Your mind is powerful. So let me start with the first chapter, because if I start talking about this book, I'll probably never finish because it's amazing. Okay, so the first chapter is the introduction. It's chapter 1. It talks about the man who thought his way into partnership with Thomas A. Edison. Now, amazing thing about this chapter 1 is that it begins with, truly thoughts are things tangible. Okay, your thoughts, they're not just illusions, they're not just mediocre type of, they are things that can be translated into material. Okay, if you think about stealing, you'll go ahead and steal. If you think about creating wealth, you'll go ahead and get started, right now, today, after you've seen my video. So like my video. So there's something that is in this chapter that stood out for me, and I'm telling you guys, this person was determined to partner with this man. This man was a powerful man. He was an inventor. If you read the history of the Americans and the rich people in the 90s, then I'm talking about 1901s and the 18s, those people, they didn't have electricity. These people, they didn't have cars. These people, they didn't even have phones. Because it is crazy. But it's just crazy how these people, they managed to create all these great things, like the nuclear bomb that destroyed the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the aeroplanes by the Wright brothers. These people didn't have phones and they didn't have the internet. But today, you have your phone, you have your internet, you can do amazing things. Okay, because you don't have to get started. You don't have to start the next big thing. All you have to do is follow a pattern that has been already created for you. So this person, there's a man here. He was poor, he was rich. He was poor, and Thomas Edison was rich. I'm talking about $1 million status. This person, he was determined to make partner. Let me say now, let's say you are in Africa and then you want to partner with someone like Elon Musk. That is now the comparison. That person was wealthy, like filthy rich. His name was Edwin Barnes. He mixed these three things. He mixed a definite purpose. He wanted to partner with the modern day Elon Musk, let's say that. And then he was persistent. And then he had something called a burning desire. You see that? That's like a feeling that you feel you just want to achieve a certain level of success. This person had that. So if you have that, you're on the right track. So listen up. So all he was thinking, he exercised the whole meaning of thinking and growing rich, because he was definite. You have to have something that is definite, a purpose. He wanted to partner with this great man, not work for him, partner for him in business. That means sales. Okay, so 2 things prevented his success. The first thing, he didn't have money to travel. Let's say you're in Africa, you need how many dollars to reach to the US? He didn't have money to travel. Let's say now the modern day Thomas Edison is Elon Musk. You don't have money to travel to Elon Musk. And even if you had money, how are you going to get in contact with such a person? These people, they live in places you can't go without an invite. There are companies you can't approach this kind of people. But this person, his one problem, he didn't have money for travel fare. He didn't know the inventor, and he didn't have money to pay the railroad. So what did he do? He decided to travel by blind baggage. Y'all know baggage, blind baggage. Guess what? He arrived. And now I'm thinking, he didn't have money, he didn't have a place to stay. And he presented himself in Thomas Edison laboratory. And he was determined. He was like, I want to partner with Thomas Edison. Okay? So Thomas Edison obviously looked at him. I don't know how he got there, guys. I don't know how, but he did. That is why they say desire, persistence, faith. They work, okay. And then years later, after he had made partner, I want to show you guys how he was able to make partner. Mr. Edison, now the rich man, he said this. He stood there before me. This is now you going to present yourself to your potential boss or potential business partner, and you have nothing. All you have is desire and your thoughts, and you want to make partner, okay? So Mr. Edison says he stood there before me looking like an ordinary tramp, But listen, but there was something in the expression of his face which conveyed the impression that he was determined to get what he had come after. Do you know that this person ended up getting a job working in the company of Thomas Edison? He didn't make partner. 1 month passed, 2 months passed, 3 months passed, 4 months passed, 6 months passed. He didn't make partner. He didn't get frustrated. Every single day, the desire was burning inside of him. He was earning a low salary. Let's say you want to work in Elon Musk's company like Tesla, and then you end up being a cleaner. But guess what? The desire and the persistent, he did not quit. So, the desire of Barnes continued intensifying as he worked around his potential partner. It didn't die. That is why you have to have a burning desire to have success. That is why psychologists say, it's written here, that when one is truly ready for a thing, it puts it in its appearance. So he was ready to make partner with Thomas Edison. Let's say the modern day Elon Musk, but he didn't know how. So this is how he made partner and made millions off of his name and ended the cycle of poverty. So an opportunity presented itself, and it's written here, I didn't even know that sometimes when opportunities come, they come in a way that you don't know, they come in different ways that you don't expect. So Mr. Edison had perfected a new office device. He was an inventor, okay, known as at that time as the Edison dictating machine. Now the Ediphone, it was a dictating machine, and he wanted to sell. Everyone, his partners, his associates, they were like, we can't sell these things. We can't sell these things. Guess what Barnes saw? He saw an opportunity and he grabbed it. He was like, I will sell this dictating machine. Trust me, the burning desire worked. Guess what? In the end, he was able to sell that machine, made millions off of selling that machine. And there was the phrase that said, made by Edison and installed by Barnes, the inventor, and now the salesman. That is how we made partner with one of the richest men in America, simply thinking and growing rich and going after what he wanted. So don't despise your humble beginnings. There's another lesson now. You've thought and you've grown rich, but there's a lesson on persistence, never giving up. There's a man in this book who used to dig for gold. You know how hard it is to find gold. You need excavators. There's a lot of money spent. Okay, so they were digging gold, and at the beginning, at the beginning they found the ore, and then they got the gold, and then they were like, oh my god, we're gonna make a lot of money, we're gonna be rich. Guess what, guys? As they continued to dig, the veins, they disappeared. Because you have to follow the veins, and I don't know, you have to follow them to reach the gold as you're digging on the ground. So this person, he was called Darby. He had gold fever, I think. Not greed, but he was like, I'm gonna make money out of digging. And it's written here something very, very smart I want to tell you guys. By the gold fever in the gold rush days, and went west to dig and grow rich. He was digging and grow rich. So if you're posting to grow rich, you're probably making a mistake. This is why. This person had never heard that, listen to this, more gold has been mined from the brains of men than has ever been taken from the earth. That is a major, major pickup line. So it's in the mind. And this person ended up giving up 3 feet from gold. 3 feet from gold, they were like, we are done. They sold the machine to a junkie and they started another business. So here's the magic now. They left the gold ore, they left the minings and everyone because they had given up. That is why you should never give up. And then now, there was this junkie that they sold the machine to. He didn't have a lot of knowledge, but this is what he did. He chose to seek advice from experts. And they said the engineers, he sought advice from engineers, and they advised him that the project had failed because the owners, they were not familiar with fault lines. And His calculations shows that the vein will be found just 3 feet from where the Derbies had stopped drilling. Imagine, 3 feet. And that is exactly where they found the gold. The junkman made millions. Guess what Uncle Derby did? He regretted it because he gave up 3 feet from gold. So that is another lesson on persistence. You have to be persistent. And this person, he moved on to the insurance business now, the one who had given up on the gold. And no matter how no's he got, he had learnt one lesson from drilling gold, that you never give up. Literally, you never give up. And he, no matter how many no's he had, he never gave up in his insurance. So the final story that I'm going to depict from chapter 1 is the story of the great inventor of the famous V8 that everyone wants to drive at some point in their lives. So this is a quote: when riches begin to come, they come so quickly, in such great abundance, that one wonders where they've been hiding during all those lean years. So let's go to the inventor of V8, Ford. This person wanted to invent an engine. Ford, the great cars that you know, V8 motors, he chose to build an engine with the entire 8 cylinders cast in one block. You know, the design was placed on paper, but the engineers agreed to a man that it was simply impossible to cast an 8-cylinder gas engine block in one piece. Okay, Ford said, produce it anyway, produce it anyway. But they replied, it's impossible. Go ahead, Ford commanded, and stay on the job until you succeed, no matter how much time is required. Guess what? The engineers went ahead. They worked, because I'm sure they were getting paid, they were getting all the resources, but how were they going to invent an engine like that? It has never been there before. So it took, at the end of the year, Ford checked with his engineers one whole year, and again they informed him they had not found a way to carry out his orders. Guess what he did? He didn't tell them to quit. He was like, go ahead, I want it. Hey, guys, and I'll have it. I want it, and I'll have it. So they went ahead, because if your boss orders, you have to obey. Okay, it's your job, you're an engineer. The Ford determination had won once more. Guess what? So you all know the results. The Ford V8 is now in the present. It was there before even I was born, and people are driving the vehicles, and they are amazing. So you're the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. So that is how the first chapter ends. Okay, a lesson on thinking. Your thoughts are things. You just have to be persistent. You just have to wait long enough. You just have to persevere, and my friend, it will come to pass. So the second chapter is on desire, and this one is a very amazing chapter because it is the starting point of all achievement. So if you want the analysis of this chapter 2 of desire, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe on my page and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified every time that I post a new video. So I hope you enjoy this Thinking and Growing Rich. I will be analyzing all the chapters here. There's the chapters on desire, faith, and remember, there are no limitations to the mind except those that we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thoughts. Powerful. I don't know if you can see it, but it's here. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thoughts. So guard your thoughts, okay? Guard your thoughts. Read your Bible. Subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.